You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Coming up, a man is fatally struck by a train in Knoll, Missouri.
We have another very nice day ahead of us before humidity returns. Temperatures rising. The latest look at the forecast coming up.
Also, we take a sneak peek at upcoming films such as Hocus Pocus 2. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Jalen Banks. A man is fatally struck in Knoll, Missouri by a train. At 8 p.m., the Knoll Marshal's Office, Knoll Fire Department, and Freeman Ambulance were dispatched to a train versus pedestrian incident on the tracks in the Knoll city limit. First unit on the scene discovered a deceased male on the tracks. The adult male was identified as a resident of Knoll, and his next of kin were notified. However, the identity of the man has not been released yet. The investigation into the incident continues, and foul play is not suspected. This is a developing story, and we'll have more on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com as more information is released. A gunman robs a Dollar General store in Webb City, Missouri. Just after 9 last night, Webb City police responded to a call at the Dollar General store in Webb City on 1510 South Madison. Witnesses say a white man entered the store and demanded money from the employees. The man displayed a handgun and took an undetermined amount of cash. As you can see in the pictures, the suspect was dressed in blue jeans, a blue long sleeve shirt, a black and green cap, a face mask, and brown boots. If you have any information, please contact the Webb City Police Department at 417-673-1911. Authorities warn not to approach the suspect as he is considered armed and dangerous. The Kansas Supreme Court will conduct a special evening session October 3rd in Parsons, Kansas, as part of its ongoing outreach to familiarize Kansas with the High Court, its work and the overall role of the Kansas judiciary. The court will be in session from 6:30 p.m. to about 8 p.m. October 3rd at Parsons High School. It'll be the Supreme Court's first visit to Parsons in the court's 161-year history, and it'll be the 13th time the court will hear cases in the evening. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly declared a drought watch for southeast Kansas. A drought watch means the conditions are dry enough to be concerned for a drought, but the conditions are still being monitored. Other parts of Kansas are currently under drought emergency and drought warning. On Tuesday, the city of Pittsburgh hosted a study session to give residents an update on the future wastewater treatment plant. Ground has been broken on the $40 million project, but construction hasn't started yet. City officials say they have $4 million in funding secured, but are still working on gathering the rest. However, they say when it's complete, the plant will generate some revenue for itself.
The biggest part is that it's old. It built in 1952 and added on, but so the biggest part of the plant's over 50 years old to as much as 70 years old.
Construction on the project is expected to finish around 2026. Joplin has a new hands-on museum for science and math exploration. The Creative Learning Alliance in Joplin held their ribbon-cutting ceremony for their new building on South Main Street. Members of Joplin and Carl Junction Chambers of Commerce joined together to see first and how fun these activities can be. All activities are hands-on and are for kids and adults.
I am the mom of a 10-year-old, and I want him to grow up in a region and a community that has these sorts of fun things where he can play but learn, hands-on, real-world learning and having fun at the same time.
To learn more about the Creative Alliance, you can visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Crews removed the old antenna from the top of our tower on Tuesday. The new antenna, weighing 12.5 tons, went up on the tower. For now, we're broadcasting from a temporary antenna lower on the tower as we prepare to transition to a new, more powerful transmitter. Our signal might be a little glitchy for some of you for the time being, but when this project is finished, we'll be broadcasting with more power than ever. Check it out, the progress, anytime on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com/power. The NYPD safely removed a bee swarm from a Times Square restaurant. Midtown Manhattan is always buzzing, but the NYPD beekeepers responded to reports of a swarm on the outdoor seating of a restaurant. An officer with the department safely removed about 2,000 bees from the scene. The pollinators will reportedly be moved to a safer location that will put their skills to good use.
Do you remember Monday?
Yes, I do remember Monday.
I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. I meant, do you remember what happened on Monday?
Yes.
You're not helping, Jalen. Do you remember what happened during the noon news on Monday when we had our own bee problem?
Yes. For
He
those of you
chased
that for those of you that don't know, on Monday there was what we believe to be a wasp flying around the studio during one of our commercial breaks. Luckily, myself and one of the NAs was able to strike it down because Chris was hiding.
Oh, hold up. There were 3 of us running around because remember, you went after it with your shoe. No, I'm sorry. Malik went after it with his shoe, and it started chasing one of you guys. And then it started chasing me. I ran to the storm center, and there's this wasp right behind. I don't do bees, okay? I've only been stung twice in my entire life. I don't do bees. And it chased me all the way to the weather center.
It did.
They're evil.
I'll vouch.
Honeybees are about the only bee that serve any good purpose because they do a lot of pollinating. I know other bees do pollinating, but honeybees don't come after you. They don't want to die. Wasps, on the other hand, they don't care. They want you to die, and they will chase you just because. I don't like them.
So
and unfortunately, what?
So you didn't enjoy that NYPD story just now?
Well, those were honeybees, and that's a little bit, I couldn't mess with a swarm like that, but I don't mind the honeybees. I just don't like wasps. And unfortunately, the weather is wasp weather. It's wasp season. Forget summer, it's wasp season. Temperatures are going to start warming up. They're going to start warming up today, but the good news is humidity levels today, not so bad yet. But they're going to go ahead and start to increase as we head into the next few days. And then a cold front's going to come in, bring some storm chances. Let's take a quick look at the 7-day forecast. As you see, 90, 91 today for the high, 93 tomorrow. So it's not going to be much warmer tomorrow. The thing is humidity starts building in. 95 Friday. We're looking at heat index values on Friday sitting right around 100 degrees. And that's heat index values. We get through some storm chances through the weekend. 4th of July, not looking like a complete washout, which is a good thing. And then the heat index values from Friday are going to be translated to temperatures on Tuesday. So we're talking heat index values into the 100-degree range, and they're going to be unpleasant. So if you are going to be out, if you're going to be doing anything for the 4th of July weekend, best chance of showers and some scattered thunderstorms is going to be Sunday. Monday, it's expected to be fairly early, no later, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. It should clear out before it's time for the festivities, and we'll take a look at a more in-depth forecast a little bit later.
All right, thank you, Chris. The FDA approves the first of its kind treatment for severe alopecia, and later, a ring belonging to a soldier who gave his life in World War II is returned to his family. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. In Health Watch this morning, the FDA has approved a first-of-its-kind treatment for severe alopecia. The heredity committee disorders causes people to lose their hair, sometimes permanently. Trinity Chavez introduces to a man who took part in the research and says it's been life-changing.
Christian Daniels was 24 when he was diagnosed with the autoimmune skin disease, alopecia areata.
Within the month span, I had lost complete hair, eyebrows, eyelashes.
The body's immune system attacks hair follicles, causing hair to fall out, often in clumps.
It's prevented me from going out into the world and seeking new opportunities or being social.
So Christian took part in a study at Yale University School of Medicine, testing a drug from Eli Lilly, baricitinib, brand named Olumiant. It belongs to a class of medications called JAK inhibitors used to treat other conditions, such as rheumatoid arthritis.
In the case of alopecia areata, a JAK inhibitor interrupts the messaging between hair follicles and the immune cell. The immune system leaves the hair follicle alone, letting it do what it's supposed to do, which is grow a hair.
The drug was studied in 2 clinical trials involving 1,200 patients with severe alopecia areata. Dr. Brett King led the research.
We've largely had nothing to offer these people, and so it's totally historic to have a medicine FDA approved that achieves nearly complete, or sometimes complete, hair regrowth in 40% or more of patients.
Full head of hair, full eyebrows, a beard that I never had. So grateful. Like sometimes I get emotional when I think about everything that I've been through.
Christian did not experience side effects from the treatment and says it changed his life. Trinity Chavez, CBS News, New York.
JAK inhibitors come with a black box warning for potential risk of cancer and other side effects. Researchers say overall the risk of these events is incredibly small and that the overall treatment looks to have good safety profiles. Some kids with some help professionals build a dominoes wall and break down the world record. The Trillium Academy in Michigan had a team of domino artists to help assemble the world's largest domino wall. They arranged more than 54,000 dominoes around the school gym, and nearly 50,000 more dominoes were used to make multiple chain reactions around the space. The team that worked on the dominoes says it took almost an entire week to make this wall.
I certainly believe that. That is a massive wall. Now, granted, Jalen, I've got some small kids at home that could probably make that same wall in like 15 seconds just out of piling things around their room. It wouldn't be nearly as neat or nearly as effective, but they're pretty good at making a very significant mess.
Yeah, watching those things are pretty cool. Like seeing.
Oh my gosh, they are. They're it's those most satisfying videos you find on YouTube and things like that, because it really is. It's just enjoyable to watch those things just one right after another fall down. Unfortunately, Jalen, our temperatures, they're not falling down.
Yeah,
they're going the other way. They're building. They are building. It looks lovely out there. 63 is where we sit right now. The sun is out. The skies are clear. Most of us are still sitting around the lower 60s, but those temperatures are going to continue to increase throughout the day. 85 by noon, 91 an afternoon high, peaking about 5 p.m., and 89 by 8. And as we head into the overnight, because it's going to be clear and the humidity levels today aren't going to be so bad, temperatures are going to be allowed to drop back into the lower 60s one more time before we really start to see heat and humidity increase across the area. As we head into the future, we're going to go ahead into Thursday, where what's going to happen is the temperatures themselves aren't going to be significantly higher than what we're going to see today. As you can see, most of us upper 80s, lower 90s. It's the heat index values that are going to start to go up because the humidity is going to start to rise. And that's going to be a big factor as we head into Friday. As you can see, we're starting out in the lower 70s this time, and then we're going to warm into the 90s, the lower 90s, with heat index values approaching 100. Full look at the 7-day forecast a little later when the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 returns. Hey, it's going to be a warm one today, but good news is humidity levels are not going to necessarily be very high. We're going to hit 85 by about noon, mid-80s. We're looking at a high of about 91, most of us in the upper 80s to lower 90s for highs today. But again, the humidity levels are going to be low. Now, as we head into the overnight, we're going to have one more night in the lower 60s for overnight lows before things start to warm up. Now, you can see temperatures tomorrow, upper 80s to lower 90s. For most of us, but what's going to change here is the heat index. The humidity is going to start to rise, and I'm going to skip right ahead to the future feels like. So when we start out Friday morning, we go into Friday now, temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer. It's going to feel like 73 as you head out the door, and then we're going to be pushing upper 90s to near 100 degrees for heat index values, and that is going to continue in the 7-day forecast. So again, pretty decent today. Tomorrow, temperature's not too bad, but the humidity does start to rise, picks up by Friday. With the humidity rising, there's going to be a cold front this weekend, which is going to come on through, and that's going to bring increasing shower and thunderstorm chances. The good news is even though we do have some thunderstorm chances on Monday, they should be confined to an early portion of the day so that the 4th of July itself is not a big washout. But you got to be careful if you are out there. It's been dry, so you need to make sure that you're careful with lighting fireworks because it has been very dry here recently. Additionally, if you are outdoors, especially during the day, 97 the high on Monday, 99 on Tuesday, and with humidity levels continuing to build, that means those heat index values are going to be into the lower 100s. So make sure you're taking appropriate precautions when you're lighting fireworks. Also, make sure that you're taking appropriate precautions if you're outdoors by staying hydrated. Well, first looks and Comic-Con announcements bring dragons, witches, and Ghostbusters. Ashley Dvorkin has all of it in the Hollywood Nation.
The Sanderson sisters are back, so are the Ghostbusters, and a return to Westeros in the Hollywood Nation.
What is this?
San Diego Comic-Con starts July 21st, and the Targaryens will be there. HBO Max announced it's holding an immersive experience, House of the Dragon, the Dragon's Den, complete with a dragon hatching and a chance to sit on the new Iron Throne. The streamer is also hosting a panel with cast and show creators, including George R.R. Martin. The Ghostbusters are getting called in next holiday. December 20th, 2023 is the release date for the follow-up to the 2021 film Ghostbusters Afterlife. On Ghostbusters Day, director Jason Reitman and writer Gil Kennan confirmed the upcoming installment will return to New York City and the original film's firehouse. A look ahead to this Halloween season is part of today's First Looks, with a trailer for Hocus Pocus 2. Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy reprise their roles as the Sanderson sisters. In the story, it's up to 3 high school students to stop the witches when they resurface in Salem. The sequel debuts on Disney Plus September 30th.
How many of you?
13.
Also in today's First Looks, a trailer for Ron Howard's 13 Lives, based on the true story of the 2018 Thai soccer team Cave Rescue. The cast includes Viggo Mortensen, Colin Farrell, and Joel Edgerton. It's in select theaters July 29th before Prime Video August 5th. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
We're going to be right back after this to celebrate today's four-state hero on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero, Ralph Robertson. Staff Sergeant Robertson served in the Army from 1944 to 1945. He served in North Africa and Italy with the 5th Army and the 34th Division of the 116th Infantry Regiment. During his service, he earned a Purple Heart, a Combat Infantry Badge, and 2 Bronze Stars. A native of Fredonia, Kansas, we thank you, today's four-state hero, Ralph Robertson. In October 1944, an American soldier from Hawaii died fighting for his country in World War II. Robert Kuroda didn't live to see the Allies defeat the Nazis. He died battling. But he and his family did get recognition for his sacrifice. And recently, the family was reunited with the cherished relic of Kuroda's life, his high school class ring, found nearly 8 decades after he was killed. Jim Mendoza reports.
In World War II, brothers Ronald and Robert Kuroda fought alongside other Japanese Americans against Nazi Germany. Ronald in the famed 100th Infantry Battalion, Robert with the highly decorated 442nd Regimental Combat Team.
They're proving their loyalty to a country that did not quite trust them.
In October 1944, Staff Sergeant Robert Kuroda was killed in combat near Bruyères, France, where he also lost his high school ring. This ring.
When you look at it now, it's shiny. You can still see Farmington High School. You can still see the words that say enter to learn, go forth to serve.
Last November, a Frenchman named Sebastian found the class ring while he was out walking with his metal detector in the forest near Bruyères. It was buried about 8 inches deep for almost 80 years.
All he saw was Farmington High School, 1940, and on the inside it had the initial R, Kuroda.
Sebastian searched the internet for months until he found Kuroda's relatives, who are extremely grateful that he went that extra mile.
He went out of his way, did the research, and wanted it returned to the family, and that's what he did.
Last month, Kevin Kuroda and his family went to Bruyères to meet Sebastian and to receive the ring and to thank him for his kindness. He took them into the forest where Sergeant Kuroda and his 442 comrades bravely fought against the enemy.
We actually went to the spot where he believes Uncle Robert was killed.
Ronald Kuroda received a Distinguished Service Cross for his valor during the war in Europe. In 2000, President Clinton presented the Kuroda family with a Medal of Honor for Robert's heroism. An area near the Halekoa Hotel is dedicated to Sergeant Kuroda's memory. The high school ring is another reminder of him.
It means the world to us. It means the world to us in our family.
And it's more than a family treasure. The Kurodas say the ring is a glimpse into the past at a generation of Nisei who put America first and who paid with their lives.
Another half hour of news and weather just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, we'll take a sneak peek at some movies being released soon, and we'll go into a contest unlike any kind. One that's strictly for ugly dogs. Only Genie Moves can bring us this story. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Let's take a look at today's top stories. A train strikes and kills a man in Knoll, Missouri. At 8 p.m., the Knoll Marshal's Office, Knoll Fire Department, and Freeman Ambulance were dispatched to a train versus pedestrian incident on the tracks in the Knoll city limit. The first unit on the scene discovered a deceased male on the tracks. The adult male was identified as a resident of Knoll, and his next of kin were notified. The identity of the man has not been released at this time. This is an ongoing investigation, but foul play is not suspected. This is a developing story, and we'll have more on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com as more information is released. The toll from Monday's Amtrak train derailment in Minden, Missouri has climbed to 4 deaths and 150 injured. 15 remain hospitalized this afternoon. The train derailed when it slammed into a dump truck at a rural crossing. Meanwhile, the county's chief elected official said residents and county leaders have been pushing for a safety upgrade at the railroad crossing for nearly 3 years. A gunman robs a Dollar General store in Webb City, Missouri. Just after 9 last night, Webb City police responded to a call at the Dollar General in Webb City on 1510 South Madison. Witnesses say a white man entered the store and demanded money from the employees. The man displayed a handgun and took an undetermined amount of cash. As you can see in the picture, the subject was dressed in blue jeans, a blue long sleeve shirt, a black and green cap, a face mask, and brown boots. If you have any information, please contact the Webb City Police Department at 417-673-1911. Authorities warn not to approach the suspect as he is considered armed and dangerous. Carthage will soon have a new senior living facility. MBL Development hosted a groundbreaking along with the city and the Chamber of Commerce for the future Carthage Senior Villas Phase 2. Construction is expected to finish next summer. It will consist of 38 two-bedroom units and a community building.
There's a real big need within your county for senior housing, 62 and above. There's a 63% chance that most seniors will need additional housing. So it's a real big need in this county because of the demographics.
The facility will be at the northwest corner of Fur and Chapel Roads. Some teenagers across 21 counties in Missouri visited Joplin for an extra special field trip. KCU Medical School hosted the Missouri AHEC Science and Health Mashup Camp. KCU faculty led activities, demonstrations, and tours for students throughout the campus. Demonstrations included dental saliva test, health disparity exercises, dissections, and osteopathic manipulative treatment.
With these high school students, it's great because they're getting into it, and I have the ability to jump in and help increase their motivation, give them encouragement, and help them grow into a medical career hopefully someday.
The Missouri American Healthcare Education Center provides community outreach to all area high schools and pre-health professional programs. Health officials with the city of Joplin say the number of new COVID cases has climbed recently, and it now is considered the high category. Officials say at the peak of the pandemic, Joplin saw 165 new cases per day. We're not near that now. There's just 22 new cases per day. Still, officials say we should be cautious.
As to why we're upticking, my assumption is that it's a number of things. One being that the cautiousness and the protections are not in place as much as what they once were.
According to the CDC, 58% of the U.S. population lives in an area with a medium or high COVID-19 community level. On Tuesday, some protesters hit the streets in Joplin to express their opposition to last week's Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe v. Wade. It's one of a number of similar area protests in recent days. They marched from Par Hill Park to Rangeline.
I'm out here because I'm in a fight for women's rights. I believe that the Supreme Court has taken actions against women, and we need to fight that. And as our First Amendment right, we have the right to do so.
The march started at 12:30 Tuesday afternoon. A group of boaters on a fishing expedition became themselves to catch the day when a Coast Guard chopper crew hoisted them to safety after a sudden lightning strike cut their pleasure cruise short. The shocking strike hit the boat about 100 miles off Tampa Bay's coast, disabling it and reportedly knocking one of the passengers out just for a moment. But thankfully, the vessel was equipped with an electric safety beacon. That, once activated, allowed the Coast Guard rescuers to quickly find the group and pull them one by one to safety.
Lightning can definitely be one of the more deadly forces of Mother Nature, and that proves it. They were very lucky, but it can be very dangerous, which is why, you know, that in the weather world we say, when thunder roars, head indoors, and it's that reason. Lightning can actually strike a good distance from the parent thunderstorm too, so you always want to be cautious. There's thunderstorms in the vicinity, you see them off in the distance, and you see lightning, don't be messing around.
Yeah, they were really fortunate, especially being out on the water.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, of course, you know, water conducts electricity, and lightning striking water can be very dangerous to those that are around it as well, because that electric charge can carry through that. And lightning is something we may have to deal with down the road. Right now, 7th and Rangeline is very clear. As you can see, temperatures are still starting to warm up slowly. 63 is where we sit. Most of us across the 4 states are now sitting in the lower to mid 60s rather, as the sun comes out and warms things up. Heading for a high of 91, should reach that by about 5 o'clock, 89 by 8, 85 as we head into the lunch hour. Clear skies and low humidity are going to allow us to cool off at least one more time into the lower 60s across the region. So as we head into the future, things, like I said, they're going to warm up. Now tomorrow's highs, I want to get to that too. They're not going to be much warmer than today, but there's a change, and that's the humidity that's going to be increasing. So you can see our highs tomorrow ranging from the upper 80s to low 90s, but the heat index values are going to start to increase. And I want to talk to you about those heat index values on here. So this is going Thursday into Friday. So we're going to start with a feels like temperature in the lower 70s for most of us. We're going to hit highs of about 95 on Friday, which is going to result in heat index values in the upper 90s to near 100 degrees. We're going to have a complete look at your forecast coming up in just a little bit on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. This morning, we are discussing food banks, record-breaking inflation, the high cost of gas, and price increases on everything from food to housing means low-income Americans have seen little reprieve. The states with the highest projected number of people living in food-insecure households in 2021 include Texas, California, Florida, New York, and Ohio. As the pandemic recedes, thousands remain food insecure and could all have devastating effects. And that brings us to our something to talk about. Have you ever used a food bank? Your options, of course, are yes or no. So far, 38% of you say that you have, and 62% of you say that you have not. You can vote at KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. You can also do so in the KOAM News Now app, and you can take part in the discussion on our Facebook page, facebook.com/KOAM Fox 14. Well, the summer movie season is heating up in July with new releases from Marvel Studios and a trio of animated adventures. Rick Damigella reports.
Kevin.
Kevin, Stuart, Bob, and the rest of the Amber accomplices are back in Minions: The Rise of Gru as the 12-year-old baddie seeks to become a supervillain. Minion Mayhem commences July 1st.
Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson.
Actually, it's the story of how Thor went from dad bod to god bod, only to find out he's not the mighty Thor. Jane? Find out what is even happening when Thor: Love and Thunder lands in theaters July 8th.
You wanted to be a samurai. Fun, isn't it? Now go get him.
Samuel L. Jackson and Michael Cera lead an all-star voice cast in Paws of Fury: The Legend of Hank. The animated adventure hits theaters July 15th.
You guys gonna tell me what's going on?
Hell no.
Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer star in Jordan Peele's Nope. We're not saying it's aliens, so you will have to find out whatever it is when the movie Nopes into theaters July 22nd.
What do I have here?
Squeezy Bruce! Squeezy what?
Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart are superpowered canines in DC League of Super Pets, with John Superman Krasinski and Keanu Batman Reeves as their heroic human counterparts. The fur flies July 29th. Catching a double feature in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
Minions: The Rise of Gru opens this Friday. Thor: Love and Thunder opens on July 8th. Paws of Fury: The Legend of Hank opens on July 15th. Nope opens on July 22nd. And DC League of Super Pets opens July 29th. We'll be back with consumer news right after this.
In Consumer Watch this morning, 4th of July celebrations are known for fireworks, big and small. But there's an alarming uptick in firework-related injuries, landing thousands of Americans in the hospital. Dina Demetrius has some more important tips on how to keep your outdoor celebrations safe.
This is what can happen when fireworks are misused. The Consumer Product Safety Commission is reminding Americans to play it safe this Independence Day. A new CPSC report shows fireworks-related injuries are up 25% over the past 15 years. Last year, there were at least 9 deaths and an estimated 11,500 emergency room visits. Those numbers are down from a peak in 2020.
The overall trend is still high. We want to make sure that people understand that fireworks are explosives. They are dangerous.
Just last week, a 14-year-old in the Seattle area lost one hand and injured the other while playing with fireworks. The CPSC warns fireworks aren't for children, even sparklers.
They burn at about 2,000 degrees, so it's like handing a blowtorch to a child.
During the height of the pandemic, many cities canceled holiday fireworks and more consumers put on their own backyard shows. But this July 4th, public pyrotechnics, like here at Pasadena's Rose Bowl, are much easier to find. Experts say attending a professional display is the safer way to celebrate. If you do plan to use fireworks at home, remember the acronym WOW. W for water, have it handy to douse fires. O for one at a time, never light off multiple fireworks. W for walk away once it's lit. And never make or use illegal fireworks.
The fuse burns way too quickly or has too large a load in it, which can make the explosion much bigger than you think.
This year, July 4th falls on a Monday, extending the opportunity for celebration and potential mishaps. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Pasadena, California.
A reminder to make sure that fireworks are legal in your location and only purchase and set off those labeled for consumer use. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back. His owner calls him magnificent, but he's just won the ugliest dog contest. Jeannie Moose introduces us to Mr. Happy Face, a 17-year-old rescue with a crooked head and a mohawk.
The world's ugliest dog contest is back in all its glory after a 2-year pandemic break, and boy, is the winner a doozy.
What is the most common thing you hear people say when they first look at him?
What is he? He is Mr. Happy Face. How can he not be a winner with that smile? That mohawk, that tongue.
This is not the full length of his tongue, I should forewarn you.
Tongues are often wagging, saying that Sonoma County, California's ugliest dog contest is mean. But Mr. Happy Face's owner knows better.
Isn't he magnificent?
Janita Benali rescued Mr. Happy Face from a shelter where she asked to see unadoptable dogs. The hairless Chinese crested Chihuahua mix came from a hoarding situation and was 17 years old. At first, he couldn't even tolerate the human touch, but now he and Janita have bonded.
He started kissing my feet, my ankles. And what woman doesn't want any creature to kiss their feet and ankles?
The recent winner of the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show might have longer ears, but Mr. Happy Face is likewise taking a victory lap, showing up on morning TV, enjoying a treat of pureed chicken baby food while waiting for a cab in New York City. He may seem alien.
He kind of looks like Yoda.
But he's got some very human quirks.
His skin is so human-like that he does start to smell a little bit under the armpits. Am I giving too much information away?
Yes. Janita says she hopes Mr. Happy Face will inspire others to adopt older pets. And with a tongue like this, there's nobody Mr. Happy Face can't lick.
I think it might be longer than Gene Simmons' tongue.
Ginny Mose, CNN, New York.
All right. Okay. All right. Ugliest dog. There he is. Our forecast is looking somewhat ugly. We zoomed in a little bit. Take a look. Traffic starting to pick up at 7th and Range Line. All you happy morning commuters are heading out under beautiful conditions, too. Got to put that sun visor down because the sun is shining. It is 63. Most of us still sitting in the lower to mid-60s. Check out Iola, Yates Center. We're getting some upper 60s because the sun is warming us up. That's what it's going to do through the day as we head on. 85 by noon. 91 is our high at 5 and 89 by 8 o'clock. Now, low humidity and clear skies above mean that we are going to dip back into the lower 60s one more time before things really start to change. The temperatures are going to increase. So today and tomorrow's temperatures actually aren't going to be all that different, believe it or not, as we head into Thursday. But the thing that's going to be different is, even though it's upper 80s, lower 90s, we're going to have increasing heat index values, which means it's going to be pretty toasty. We're going to take a look at all those heat index values that'll be approaching 100 and your 7-day forecast when KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 returns.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. At a newly added hearing, the House Select Committee investigating the attack on the U.S. Capitol revealed an eye-opening information about January 6th. An aide of former President Trump's White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, Cassidy Hutchison, says she was told former President Trump grabbed the steering wheel and lunged at his head of Secret Service agent when told he was not permitted to go to the Capitol after ordering the crowd there. A source close to the Secret Service tells CBS News the agent and the presidential driver are prepared to testify that neither was attacked and Mr. Trump did not reach for the steering wheel. Hutchison also said Mr. Trump knew the crowd was chanting to hang Vice President Pence, but did nothing to stop the attack. Former British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years in prison for helping Jeffrey Epstein sexually abuse underage girls. She told victims in court she was sorry for the pain they had experienced. Maxwell's attorney says they'll appeal the decision. And the Biden administration says the federal government is sending out more monkeypox vaccines, nearly 300,000 in the coming weeks. Testing will also get easier with commercial labs getting more tests. The initial goal is to stop the spread of the virus in areas that have been most affected.
We're heading for a high of 91 today under mostly sunny skies. Those clear skies will continue through the overnight. Most of us are going to be pretty decent. The humidity levels remain low for us today, though. So as we head into tomorrow, though, they're going to increase. And so while tomorrow's afternoon highs, as you can see, are not much different from today, humidity levels are going to increase, and that's going to cause heat index values to begin to rise. And as we head into Friday, check out some of these heat index values up near 100 degrees. 7-day forecast showing us more of the same. Warming trend continues, as do some thunderstorm chances. Check out Monday, Tuesday, 97, 99. Good news is any showers on the 4th of July are expected to be early enough they shouldn't wash out any of the 4th of July plans.
A massive marble head pulled from a 2,000-year-old shipwreck in Greece is suspected to be the final missing piece of a headless statue of Hercules that was found by divers over 120 years ago and has been hanging out headless in the museum ever since. The head was found in one of the many new finds in the famous Antikythera shipwreck, which had already yielded many incredible 20th century historic finds. Experts plan to continue to prod this maritime marvel for more sunken treasures.
It's always incredible what goes down with ships back in the day. There's just some fascinating things that have gone down with historic shipwrecks over the years, and now we're starting to discover them and see what kind of treasures like that one are buried under the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, my first shipwreck experience was watching the Goonies and just thinking about all the things that was on that ship.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I can only imagine how much more is out there.
Oh, absolutely. Guys, thank you. That is our time. We'll be back here at noon on KOAM. Have a great day.